And here we go. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and it's going to be a fun evening. I've got Latrese Kabuya with me tonight, and I was introduced to her through a mutual acquaintance, and the first time I talked to her on the phone, I fell in love with her. I love her energy, and I love the things that she's doing. Latrese, give the folks a little bit of background on who you are. You can do it so much better than I can, it's just I love your energy. So go ahead.
You're so sweet, Rick. Stir. Okay, first of all, you hear that voice? Oh my gosh. I have been sick, but I'm Latrese Kabuya. I'm the owner of Let's Get Pretty, and pretty means prepare, redefine, express the total you. So I'm a beauty advisor. I help, with makeup needs, skincare needs, but then on the flip side, as pretty as we want to be on the outside, you have to be pretty on the inside. And that's really where my heart is. That's where I, really work from the inside out. And so I do empowerment seminars, empowerment coaching, one-on-one with individuals, especially the young girls or the older girls, and just make sure I just help them to love themselves. I help them to find purpose, because as we know, when we operate in purpose, we're fulfilled. So that's
Excellent.
Me in a little nutshell.
And you just gotta love you. I just love your energy. The first time I met you, we were on the phone, and I'm driving down the road, and I'm just getting all jazzed talking to you. Just because of the fun stuff. Just because we're moving so many same directions. Thinking
Yes.
we're as a dating coach, I work with individuals to help them have good self-esteem and.
Yes.
And just help them move in the right directions. And you do so much of the same thing with young women. So tell us a little bit about the P.R.E.T.T.Y, the acronym P.R.E.T.T.Y that you have.
So P.R.E.T.T.Y means to prepare, redefine, express the total you. So what happens in our lives, we go through different phases of in our life. And first of all, you have to recognize and acknowledge what phase or season of life you are in. And then I just help you to fulfill your potential in that season of your life, and seasons aren't always easy, but yet they're attainable and they help you grow. And so I just help you with that. I help you just to fulfill your purpose. I help you see things in a different light, because life can throw some punches at us, but even in that, it's all good. It can be all good, because God said He'll work it out for your good, and I promise you, I'm a living proof of that.
Yeah, absolutely. It is just so many fun things. Oh God, you just jazz me up. It's so cool.
I love it, Rickster. Yes.
Yeah, and one of the things that I really latched onto is finding your purpose. And so many of us go through life not figuring out what that is, or not looking for it. We just kind of stumble through life, and it's so important to find that purpose and be able to move forward. It's almost, to me, it's God's gift to us to fulfill that purpose. And if we don't spend time looking for it and trying to figure that out, it's such a loss.
It is. It absolutely is. Because think about it. When you hear on TV, like movie stars that have committed suicide, or doctors or lawyers, you're like, dude, what's that all about? Well, just because you're successful doesn't mean that you're necessarily operating in the purpose that God has called you to. You might be operating in gifting, and gifting is not bad. I mean, gifts are good, but you want to fulfill the purpose. Why are you on this earth? What are you doing here besides taking up space? And so God has put everyone on this earth. He made purpose, then he made you. So you were on his mind. And so you have to fulfill God's purpose. You have to seek it out because it services humanity. And so we're here, just like Jesus came to serve. That's what we're here. That's what we're here to do with our purpose.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. That's very well stated too. And now, when you talk about fulfilling purpose,
yes,
how do you work with your young ladies in helping them figure out what their purpose is?
That's a great question, Rick. And while I'm about to answer that, I was just kind of looking at my hat. It's crooked. Rick, you didn't tell me. Rick, you got to have my back, Rickster. I'm just saying.
I thought you were making a style statement there.
Exactly. That's what I was doing. Yeah. Okay. But seriously, what I do, this is the thing. And actually, my husband taught me how to do this. First of all, what do you like to do? So you write everything you like to do. Then you write everything that you're good at doing. Then you ask people who you trust what they think you're good at doing. Then you kind of look at that all over that, that's 3 lists. You look it over and then you say, what would I do if I never got paid? That's how you determine. When I do empowerment seminars, when I'm speaking to girls, my God, I don't have to get paid. Now, I like to because, I got to eat. Sister got to eat. But, but I love, it just does something to me. My spirit leaps, or when I'm connecting with someone and I'm helping them through something or connecting them to something that they've never connected to, where they reach down deep within,
Yes.
My God, I love that. I absolutely love that. And so as much as it sounds hard, it is actually really easy because God wouldn't give us purpose and then make it hard for us to find it. It's just really who we are. I've always been told that, my girlfriends would say, okay, when you get around Latrese, you're going to sit on the couch just automatically, and people will just talk to me just like for no reason and tell me intimate things. And that's been all my life, even as a child. It's just what I do. Now I've just put a name to it, purpose.
That is amazing. And it is amazing when you have people walk up to you just out of the blue and start sharing things with you. And I've had that happen in the last few years as I've moved into the world of dating and coaching. And it is, and even without telling people what you do, they seem to gravitate to you and talk about those things. So that is a really amazing feeling.
Yes.
And there is something just deep down inside, something calming and very peaceful about doing what or following your passion.
Yes.
And
yes.
I've experienced that myself over the last 5 or 6 years, and it is mind blowing.
Yes,
it's just like
it is.
Whoa, where did that come from?
Right. It's just like an awe, like, oh my God, and there was, so many years I did not understand purpose. And, I didn't know that this was really purpose. I didn't define it as that. And, you kind of were like, oh my God, what did I do before this? Because this is like the stuff, like, like the bomb.com,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Thebomb.com. Shoot, that's great. I just want to take a pause here for a second. We have a new person on. It's John and Tammy who are on their first day on Blab. Yay! Welcome to Blab. Yeah.
Yay!
Thanks for joining us, and if any of you out there that are watching have any questions for us, please fire them in,
Yes,
and we'll do our best to answer them for you. And
absolutely.
so what's new and exciting going on in your life right
Oh
now,
my
Latrese? There's an off the wall question for you.
well, there's always. Going on.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll say this tomorrow, just to get this plug in. I'll be on 1590 KPRT. And yeah, just talking about purpose, talking about goals, how to stay focused. We're only in February, and some people are already falling off. So how do you get back on track? And so I'll be on 1590 AM KPRT. Then on March 26th, I have what's called Table Talk. Last November, I did an empowerment seminar for young girls, for youth, and it went over so well. I'm still getting calls, text messages. When's the next one? And so what I'm doing is taking a small group, teenagers, because man, being a teenager this day and age, woo, is hard. It's extremely hard. And I just felt like I needed to take them under my wing personally. So what I'm doing is what's called Table Talk, and it's for ages 14 to 18. We're going to sit down like girls, like we do, and just talk about real issues. What are you going through? What's happening in your life? And not browbeat them, but give them tools and advice on how to work through it. It's not easy being a teenager. And as much as we want to point the finger and say, don't do that and better, man, there's so much out there that takes their attention one direction or another. How do we keep them on that safe track? And so that's what I'll be doing. I have some special guests that I can't tell you about.
Oh, keeping secrets from us, huh?
Yes. But it's going to be absolutely amazing, and so that's one thing that's coming up. And I was going to say I'm about to do a lot of social media advertising, but that would be a lie. That would be my husband and his company. I would love to say, yeah, that was me, but no, that's Globe Reach Media. And so you'll be seeing that here shortly. Yeah. And then June 4th, you're going to be on the man's panel. I have, it's going to be called the Let's Get Pretty Experience for grown women, because we're going to have grown conversations. We're going to talk. Let me tell you, we're going to talk. Let me just get my little sheet real quick. And these are just a few topics that I remembered off on my mind. Life after divorce, sex after marriage, what's my purpose, balancing act, and what is my body doing in this old age? And so, and that's just a few of the sessions we're going to have. We're going to definitely have a men's panel, and just for the single woman, just to get you guys' point of view. Stop guessing. Let's hear from you guys and understand what you're thinking. What does this mean? And when you scratch your eyebrow, what does that mean? All of those things. We need to know that,
there are some a little innuendos there, but that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
That's going to be an absolute ball.
Absolutely.
And I've done some of those panels in the past, and a couple of people that I present with, Michelle Birch Jones and Chrissy Bash, we do a lot of the same thing. We play off of each other, and we give a he said, she said type of presentation. And so I think that's so powerful when the opposite sex gets information from the right from the source.
Yes.
It's just from the horse's mouth is what I was trying to say.
Absolutely. Oh, definitely, because especially, I can't see. I got a piece of hair. I'm sorry. I don't stay focused. You know it, Rick.
Stay with me. Stay with me. Latrese.
You know how I do from our lunch meeting.
That was another experience for me, because it was boom. We were off on this subject and off onto another subject, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
But see, I come back to it. I come back.
That's right.
See? And so what I was saying is the fact that there's a lot of women who have not dated in a while, or have not had that connection with a man, and so they are clueless on what to do, what a man is saying, if a man's flirting. And so this gives them an opportunity to really connect with men, hear what they're saying, get wisdom, get advice. And then we're also going to have a woman's panel, but it's going to be older women, because the Bible says that the older should teach the younger. And and we don't do that anymore. It's not popular. Everyone's busy, or people are like, talk to the hand. I'm not trying to hear you, but we need that wisdom. And so we're going to have a panel for older, mature women to teach us. Yeah. So it's gonna be good.
Yeah, that's a fantastic perspective, and a feature to have in your workshop, because we do forego so much of the knowledge, so much of the wisdom in our society, just because we like you said, we're so busy and we're so wrapped up in our own lives, and we think, I look back when I was a kid and I looked at my parents and I thought, oh man, how stupid can they be? And the older we got, they said, yeah, well, they instantly got a little bit smarter, didn't they?
Oh my God.
Somehow, and so the same thing with being able to pass wisdom down to young people. There's so many things, if we just listen. If we just pay attention, so many mistakes that we can avoid. So many poor, and from my perspective, so many poor relationships that we can avoid if we just listen and pay attention, and stay focused on what's important to us.
Absolutely, definitely, we have to listen, and sometimes that's hard. It's hard to hear the truth. It
is. Yeah. And that's the truth is very difficult, because we want to believe our truth and not necessarily look at all of the realities. And we all experience, that's the interesting thing about life. We all experience the things differently. You and I could be sitting in the same room side by side and looking at an event, and we'll see two different things.
Absolutely. I agree. That's what I tell my husband all the time. You are not seeing correctly because you do not agree with what I'm saying. You don't understand that I'm always right. So we're still working on him, just a little bit, how that goes, but it's all good.
I can relate. Yeah, he's not seeing it correctly. You go home, think about it, and when you want to do it my way, then
right there,
then we're good.
Right there, absolutely. You've heard from God at that point. Yes. Absolutely.
Here we go. It's and that's a very important part about communication and understanding what how each other, or how our significant other sees things, and being able to communicate those things with each other. I was in a relationship not too long ago where we sat down and we were having a conversation. I said, "Stop." I said, "This is what you said, correct?" And she said yes. And I used her words as best as I could. And then I told her, "This is what I heard." And it was completely different. It was a completely different interpretation than what she meant. And
Wow.
when we had those kinds of conversations, we were able to go much deeper, and
Yes.
she was able to gain a much deeper understanding of me, and I a much deeper understanding of her. We've got a comment on here
Okay.
from John and Tammy. So true. We all have our I'm assuming that's own way, and we have to learn to be able to listen and understand what the other is going is trying to say, and
Yeah.
is going through. That's exactly correct.
Absolutely. Ah.
Um, and it is amazing. Yeah,
We
no
see
problem.
that.
No problem, John. Tammy. It's great. And what yeah, there's so many things that we just naturally assume
Yeah.
the other person understands us, and that's
Yeah.
one of the things that over the last few years that I've learned is not to make those assumptions.
Right.
So yeah, so
Absolutely. I think that's probably the hardest thing in a relationship, whether it's husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, is that communication piece because we come from different worlds. And so the way that I grew up and seeing communication is pretty much how I'm going to display it. And
sure,
so, and so when you get a partner, the way they, the same thing, the way they grew up and saw it. And so it's really working together to now create your own. And
yeah,
that's what can be challenging. But once you get that rhythm, it's amazing. And so it's just two people being committed to saying, you know what? Because my husband and I were talking the other day about our relationship and how we're at a point now where it don't even make sense to argue. We know we're not leaving each other. First of all, because we
yeah.
got too many kids, so it would be too expensive. And then, and then he is awfully cute, Rick. I'm not going to get on that, but whew,
No,
I,
I think that I think the term you used when the last time we met was he is so dreamy.
oh, yummy, yummy.
Yummy, yummy. That's it. Yummy. Yeah. We have
Yes, yes. He
we
is.
have a question.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Yeah, we have a question here. How do you incorporate this in a new relationship? And that's a great question. And in any relationship, new or long term, you have to create an environment that's safe to communicate.
Yes.
You have to be able to talk to each other and not feel threatened,
Yeah.
at least emotionally,
Yeah.
that your words are going to come back to you and haunt you or bite you or be used against you in some way. And that is so critical, and that does take a little bit of time to develop. And so, it's if you're paying attention, if you're talking to your openly with your mate, you'll be able to determine very quickly whether you can open up and share. And if you don't have that comfortable relationship, or that ability to be comfortable and share, that's a conversation in and of itself.
Yeah.
And saying, I really don't feel comfortable being able to share these things with you. Now, I'm going to step back for a second and say, if there are certain things that we may not want to share very early on in a relationship, but there are conversations that we need to have. We need to have conversations about money, health, sex, family values, politics, religion. Those are all important topics to have.
Yeah.
And when you get into a new relationship, you have to be able to feel comfortable having those conversations.
Yeah.
If you don't, you have to question the relationship, because you don't have that. You may not have that extraordinary connection, the intellectual connection to be able to share those.
That's good. And if I could just say, Rick, one of the things my husband and I do is when we have to talk about some really challenging topics or subjects, we always say, hey, are you in a safe place? Hey, are you in a safe place? Because at that point we know, okay, something's about to go down. But we're
Yeah.
also in an emotional and mental state where, okay, we can receive so that we don't attack back. Because when you're communicating, that's why arguing doesn't work, because arguing is just being arrogant and just trying to get your point across. That's why communication is the key, because you're trying to get an understanding. And one time, what my godmother says, do you want to, what's more important? Do you want to keep your marriage, or do you want to be right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Yeah.
And you have to be open. And probably one of the biggest things I've had to learn in relationships since my divorce is being willing to admit you're wrong.
Yes.
Being willing to say you're sorry. Being
Yes.
willing to say I'm sorry when I'm wrong.
Yes.
You know, and that is as important as anything.
Yes.
That we have to admit when we're wrong.
Absolutely.
If we can't do that, then we're building a wall, we're building a barrier between us, and it takes some pretty hardy maturity
Yes.
to be able to do that, because just naturally as human beings, we want to be right.
Absolutely.
We want to be that, in that position of, no, I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Especially as men.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think men have a much harder time, much more difficult time admitting that we're wrong or that we're vulnerable, and that we have to be open and admit it.
Yes.
And when we do that, both men and women, when we do that, we have the ability to deepen our relationship and develop a deep level of trust.
Yes.
And a deep level of connection that if we're wrong, doggone it, I know, Latrese, if you're wrong, you're going to admit it to me, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And that builds a much deeper connection.
It does, because you're vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely. And to forgive, because I can hold a grudge now. And so don't even play. And so,
yeah.
I'm like,
I do.
Side-eye looking like, no. But it gets you nowhere. It gets you nowhere. Just mad and looking side-eye. And so
don't be looking at me in that tone of voice.
Like, I am not feeling you today, brother. But but what I also have learned in maturing and healing, because I don't think you ever stop healing and growing, And so the one thing I learned is that why waste a whole day? Why waste an hour? Why waste 5 minutes being mad or unforgiving when you can take the opportunity to just kick it with that person, to have fun with that person? And I used to think, okay, now why was I really that mad? 3 days later, and I've wasted 3 days where Olivia and I could have really just connected or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So really, it's a waste of time. It's a distraction.
Yeah, it is. And and again, it goes back to what she said. Do you want to be right? Or do you want to be in a relationship? Do you want to be in love?
Yeah, that was really ghetto. Did you see? I took the gum out my mouth. Okay, sorry.
I saw that. No, that we've got another question here. It says, do you think a solid communication foundation can be achieved in a long distance relationship? And my short answer is absolutely yes. It depends on a number of things within the relationship. First, you have to be able to develop. one of the things that I teach is the 4 cornerstones of great relationships, and that includes an intellectual, spiritual, emotional, and physical connection. And I think in some respects, I met let me digress here. I met a great couple over Valentine's Day. They were on about their 3rd date, and she lives in Memphis. He lives here in the Kansas City area, and we were talking about these 4 cornerstones and some of the communication you need to have, and they had already, in just 2 months, had already had some very deep, very intense conversations. Now, part of, and this may sound strange, but part of the advantage of a long distance relationship is that you have time to get to know each other. And when you have that time to get to know each other, you have time to learn some of the deeper aspects of each other. You can develop some communication. You can start to determine if you're on the same page morally and spiritually. And we all want somebody that we're physically attracted to. We all, hormones start to lie to us pretty quickly. Infatuation takes over, and we start ignoring the red flags. And when you're in that long distance relationship, you can't just jump into bed too quickly. Now, when you get together, unfortunately, again, the hormones lie. We've been developing this connection, but the longer you can stay out of bed together, the deeper the connection you can develop, and you can learn about each other spiritually and emotionally. And when we get into bed too quickly, and scientifically, men shut down developing a connection intellectually, spiritually, and emotionally.
Yes.
Now, women will develop a higher level or a very high level of emotional connection, but it's not going to be a real deep connection. So yes, can you achieve great communication, solid communication? Absolutely. But you have to be able to talk on a regular basis, share, and be honest and open. I mean, if one of you is chasing around and dating while you're trying to develop this relationship, it's not going to work. Eventually, you're going to get found out, and there's no point in trying to pursue a relationship. I guess you have to decide whether you're going to be monogamous or not, and then go from there. So I hope that answered that question for you.
That was good,
viewer. So we were scheduled to go about 30 minutes. We're already a little bit past that, and I'm willing to keep going. Great. I'm glad that helped.
That's
and any of you out there that are watching, please feel free to send us messages or send us questions. We're happy to keep going, and we'll rock and roll from here. So,
did you see that, Rick? It says, "Preach, Rick."
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I've been kind of watching some of the comments on the side here. So yeah, it's great. Latrese,
Yes.
this has been great having you on here. We've got some things, we both have some things going on. I've just recently co-founded a meetup group in the Kansas City area. So for those of you that are in the meetup singles, it's called the Kansas City Singles Mingle Group. And we meet once a month right now. And the whole idea is to bring singles together and let them meet other singles that are going through similar issues. And we have people at different stages of divorce or widowhood, and those that have been down the divorce road or widow road for a little while are kind of wrapping their arms around those that are recently divorced or widowed, and our meetups are basically we call it a happy hour with grit, because we come together and socialize for a little bit, and then we spend about an hour talking about relationships. And different aspects of relationships, communication. The last couple of weeks, we've talked about developing our must-have lists and our deal breakers, and looking at those aspects of relationships. I also have a workshop coming up, and I think our next meetup is on March 8th. Here in the Kansas City area. If you're interested or familiar in the Kansas City area, look us up on meetup.com Kansas City, and we're the Kansas City Singles Mingle meetup group, and then just follow us there. Join in the group if you're interested. I also have a full day workshop coming up on March 19th, which is Saturday. It's an all day event, and we've got some great people coming in to talk. I've got a therapist coming in to talk about our limiting beliefs. I've got a business associate coming in to talk about personality types and how the various personality types communicate, who gets along, who doesn't.
That's
another
good.
associate, my associate Chrissy Bash, and I will be talking about again, creating your list of must-haves, your deal breakers. We'll talk about some online dating and creating great profiles and becoming more solid daters. And having some clarity, because one of the things that I've found in conversations with people is that they start dating and they don't have any idea of what they're looking for. They go out and date. Oh, this guy's cool. She's cute. Right. And they start getting into a relationship without being clear on what they want. And halfway in, they start realizing, this isn't working. And in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years into this relationship, they realize, really, what have I've just wasted all this time with the wrong person. So what I try to bring to the table for our meetup group and for my clients is to help them gain clarity up front. It's like any other goal. If you want to have a relationship with somebody, you've got to know what you want. If you don't know what you want, where are you going to go? I mean, it's
a vision. You have to know, what is your vision? And you and I talked about that in one of our meetings, about how when I remarried, my list, that I had, and my list went from the most important to if it never happens, and I personally believe everyone should have a list, because like you're saying, you have to know what you're looking for. You have to know what is your deal breaker, what is your absolute gotta have, And so when I look at my list and I look at my husband, it's like, that matches. Okay. That's why we're still together. Okay. Cool beans. But but when I got married the first time, I didn't know about a list. Like you said, he was cute.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We knew each other. That was it.
Yeah. And one of the things that I always that people come to me and say, "Oh, Rick, you can't find everything on your list. You can't. There's no way. It's impossible." And we look at just the Kansas City area, the metro area. There's 800,000 singles, age 35 and above.
Wow.
If you just think that maybe 0.5% is going to have your must-haves, everything that you want on your list, then that leaves about. And we'll cut that in half, because about half are men and half are women. Yeah. That leaves about 2,000 men or 2,000 women to date and find out. Really, there's there's so many people. There's so many possibilities just in the Kansas City metro area. It's unbelievable.
There's no limit, and I think that's what I would encourage single men and women, that there's no limit. Stop it. There is a man for you. There is a woman for you. God is too big to say, you don't get a mate. You know, that's just not the way it rolls. And so, but you have to be open, you have to be willing, you have to get out there. You know, sometimes singles come to me and say, you know, cry that they don't have, you know, any guys to choose from. And then I say, okay, well, where do you go? You know, after work, home, side eye.
Yeah, exactly. And the one that the claim that I like best is God will bring me the right person.
Let me tell you about that one.
And they're sitting on the couch,
right, eating potato chips.
Yeah, and the only way that God's going to bring that the only way you're going to find the right person is if it's the mailman or the UPS man. You know, it's just not going to happen any other way. You have to, you know, I think God wants us to be with somebody. God wants everyone to be with somebody, but we have to help. We have to put in some effort. It can't be one-sided and say, God, come on, bring him to me or bring her to me. We have to put in the effort. So, you know, it's one of those things that I always encourage, and you bring up a good point about where do you look, is, you know, what are you doing, where are you going, and that is a huge part of finding the right person. In one of our in our first meetup, we had a young lady that she's been divorced for just a couple of months, and she's 5'10". And so she wants somebody that's at least 6 foot tall or taller. And she says, well, there are no tall men. Where do I find them? And we challenged her to, for our next meetup, to come in with a list of 3 places where she could potentially find a tall man. And it was in that challenge. It wasn't 10 days later. I saw her at a dance, and there, lo and behold, was a guy that was 6'4".
Oh my gosh!
And they danced most of the night. Wow. I don't know that it was an extraordinary relationship, but you know, it was. You know, it opened her eyes to the possibilities.
Right.
And you know, and it goes back to what you're saying. If you believe that you can, or that you believe that you can't, you're right.
Absolutely.
And, you know, when you start putting all these limiting beliefs on yourself, absolutely. There's nobody to date in Kansas City.
Right.
There's 800,000 single people in Kansas City, but no, there's nobody to date.
And you know what? And that is so true, because I'm going to tell you, when I got my divorce and I had 2 small children, and that's what I was told by other single women: you're not going to get married. The devil is a lie. Yes, I am. You know, and I was just like, please, whatever. And, you know, but that's what I heard so much. But you got to watch your confession. You got to watch what you say, because you know, those words go out into the universe, and you can have what you say. You know, words are powerful. You know, they're containers. And, you know, they're going to bring what you're saying to you. And so it was maybe a year. And this beautiful man from the motherland talking about he wanted me as his queen, you know, but every day, Rick, I had an expectation.
Yes.
I wasn't like weird or crazy about it. Not like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out, I had to have a husband. No, it wasn't that. But I just knew, so inside of me, I was just like, it's not going to be many days from now. And it wasn't, you know, and boom, it was easy. It was absolutely easy.
Absolutely. I've got to read a comment here. Thanks, Man Private. It's the Air Force is not parachuting Prince Charmings into any city. Yeah, you got to go out and look for them. Thanks for that comment. I appreciate that.
That was good.
Yeah. And so, and we do have to put effort in. And, you know, the reality is that we are told regularly that if we make a list of things, we're being too picky, and if we're not flexible on that list, we can't possibly find. Well, those are the people that are unhappy, and they
Yeah.
want to limit you. They don't want you
Yes.
to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. They don't
Right.
want you to find the happiness that they're missing out on. And and I think that's one of the amazing things is, and I've seen it so many times that uh, and I'm going to kind of veer off down a rabbit hole here. Uh, we're so afraid of missing something that we hang on to something that's not good. And when we could be giving up something that's good for something that's extraordinary. And so,
Yes. Come
and
on, Rick.
that's one of the things that I always try to impress on people, that if it's not an extraordinary relationship, if it doesn't meet, if your man or your woman doesn't meet everything on your must-have list, then then
Yes.
it's the next word out of your mouth should be next.
Right.
And it's just that's exactly right. We've got
Yes.
there's too many people out there that say, well, what if I can't find anyone better? I guarantee you there's somebody better out there. I absolutely guarantee it.
Yes.
Now, unless you're in an extraordinary or a soulmate relationship, then no, there won't be anyone better out there for you. But unless you are in that extraordinary relationship,
Right.
unless you are with your soulmate,
Right.
it's there will be somebody better, and I refuse to settle for less than extraordinary. It's just
Absolutely.
you just need to keep that focus.
Yes. Yes.
And so
You can't compromise.
no, and the minute you do, what you're telling yourself is that you are not worthy
Yes.
of having everything that you want.
I
And
agree with that.
that is and it's whether you're 16, whether you're 18, whether you're 20, whether you're
Yes.
80,
Yes.
and the minute you limit yourself, and you're telling yourself that you're not worthy. And I truly don't believe that. I think
Right.
we all have that soulmate out there, and I
Oh, me
believe we
too.
have more than one.
I agree. I
you know, I
agree. Because let me tell you why. Because Olivier is my soulmate, like 100%. Okay. That's who I'm currently married to. However, let's just say he didn't make it to America and he had stayed in his home country, Africa.
Sure.
Steve Harvey would have been my other soulmate.
There you go.
So I do believe that. Now, on the flip side of that, let's just say Olivier stayed in Africa. Okay. And let's just say Angela Bassett had to do a movie in Africa. But Latrese could not make it to Africa. Angie would be Olivier's soulmate.
There
so
you go.
I do agree. I definitely agree. I definitely agree.
Yeah. So that's exactly right. And it's just a matter of where you are and when you get there. And
absolutely.
And one of the things that I also believe is that if God's not bringing somebody into your life at the time that you want, there's one of two things going on, or maybe they're going on simultaneously. One, God has lessons for you that you need to learn yet. There are things that you need to learn and grow and heal before you can move into a healthy relationship. The other component of that is that your soulmate, the person, your extraordinary mate, if you don't believe in soulmates, is learning. They're learning some lessons that they need to learn to be an extraordinary mate. So there are a couple of different aspects there that and I know I'm continually learning lessons, continually.
And
I've been.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
all I was going to say, I was just going to piggyback on that, because a lot of times, and this is where I tell my youth girls, you have to be whole, because, you want this little boyfriend relationship, but you're not even whole. And then I tell my grown up girls, you got to be whole, because two halves make a whole, and that's dysfunction. Two wholes complement each other. And it doesn't mean that you know everything, because I'm going to tell you, after my divorce, then marrying Olivier, I have to admit I was whole, but there was still healing. And he loved me by healing me. His love healed me in areas that I didn't even know still needed to be healed, and vice versa. And that's the compliment of each other, because he was whole. I was whole, not perfect, but whole. And that is the key to it. The whole saying, I'm half and he's half, or she's, no, baby, that's not cute. That is not cute, and it's not healthy. You want to be whole. So you got to be honest with yourself. Find out, what are these areas? I mean, these areas, you're just trying to ignore them. Be honest, because once you deal with those areas, man, you will grow as a person, leap and bounds. You are going to fall in love with yourself. That's what I did. I fell in love with myself because I didn't love myself. And man, you can't talk me out of Latrese now. I am her biggest cheerleader. Boom. I promise you. Like,
and that
100.
that is an extraordinary point, Latrese. You do have to be whole. You have to be emotionally healthy. You have to be emotionally mature, and you have to love yourself.
Yes.
Because if you don't love yourself, you can't love anyone else, because you don't have that love to give.
And why should you expect someone to love you if you don't love yourself?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's so dead on. And we talk about it in my book, Dating Backward, that when you're whole, and when you find that soulmate, that extraordinary connection, we use a statement. There's relationship math. It's 1 + 1 = 1 to the 10th.
Oh wow.
Because when you are both whole, when you are both connected, the connection you develop, the strength that you develop as a couple, because it is so extraordinary. You become each other's cheerleaders, and the depth of that connection. I've had that connection once, and I will never settle for less than that type of connection again. And it is so extraordinary, the things that you can do as a couple. You're there to support each other and prop each other up, and it's just so powerful that it's a feeling that literally, for me, transcends words. I cannot describe how powerful it is.
But I think that's what it's meant to be. I think that's what marriage really is. When they say marriage is heaven on earth, I think that's what it is.
When you're with the right person.
Yes.
And the sad fact is that the better part of 80 to 85% of us never know that type of relationship.
Yes.
And we move through life in relationships that are just mediocre in stature, and it's such a shame to waste a life with. And don't misunderstand me. There are some very good relationships out there, and they're just okay, but they're just okay because we settled for less than extraordinary up front. And if we hold out just a little bit longer, it's like that adage that you don't know how close to success you are when you quit. I mean, it's been proven time and again that you just hold out. You hold out a little bit longer, and then you're there.
Yeah.
So anyway. So
Yeah.
those are yeah, that I get all jazzed about that, and you know, it's just very passionate. That's my
Yes.
passion. You know,
That's
it's
your
just
passion.
that's my passion.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just making sure that people don't settle for less than extraordinary. They
Yes.
can move forward in a great relationship, have self respect and self esteem,
Yes.
and uh, have that love and caring and
Yes.
you know, just knowing that they have somebody that's covering their back. You know, it's just you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I have a big back. So I'm so
Yeah,
grateful
me
for
too.
Olivier. So grateful. But but it is
Uh,
amazing. But it starts with the beginning,
yes.
loving yourself. And that's why if I can get to these youth girls early, 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 because what it
Yes.
is, we're just women. We're young, we're little girls in just women body, in adult
Yeah.
bodies. We still
Yes.
have the same issues because they don't go away. You have to fix them. You have to fix your issues. And you so if I can get you, 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that's wonderful because there's just some things you're not going to go through. There's some things you're not going to compromise on. And and so that's why we piggyback on each other
Yeah.
because if I can just get it at the beginning,
Yeah.
then man, you can just kind of help them walk through the rest of the journey as an
That
adult.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
and yeah, it is critical to make those good decisions up front,
Yeah.
and the more you can catch them young, the better
Absolutely.
life is going to be for so many
Oh
people because
yeah.
the divorce rate, for those of you that are listening, the divorce rates statistics show that 40% of first marriages fail, 63% of second marriages fail, and about 71 or 72% of third marriages fail.
Ooh,
If we're not paying attention and
ooh.
doing things right, we make the same mistakes.
Yes.
We get into relationships because we don't want to be alone. We don't want to,
Yes.
we think that we need somebody to complete us. No, we need to be complete, like we said earlier. We need to be complete first, and then come together with
Yes.
somebody else that's complete. And again, it goes from 1 + 1 = 1 to the 10th, and it's
Love that.
yeah, it's just
Love that.
extraordinary. We're coming up. Hang on, we got one quick question here.
Okay.
I'm in my 40s and never married. Too old to settle for less. Uh,
Yes.
yes.
Amen. And I think if I could just respond to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
When she said I am in my 40s, automatically people put that as a boundary.
Yeah.
Take the boundary away. That doesn't mean anything. It's just a number. You still are worth not compromising, and it still will happen for you. Don't give up. Don't settle. Don't say, well, I'm 40 something. I'm just going to, no, you're worth so much more. Keep your list. Keep speaking what you want. Stay positive in your mind and in your emotions. And I promise you that man will manifest. Just look at it like this. Like Rick said, God is still doing something in you, still doing something within you, and still doing something with your mate. But at the right time, at the appointed time, it will manifest.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we've got another comment. God is great and has nothing but greatness for you. Absolutely, that is the God's honest truth. Um, so we're going to wrap it up here. We've been an
Okay.
hour. We were planning
Wow.
on going a half an hour, and we've just had way too much fun tonight. I knew this was going to go on. Tell everybody, Latrese, how to get a hold of you and where you're at, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. First of all, Rick, thank you so much for allowing me to join you today. It was so fun, even though it's past my bedtime. Um, Yeah,
I'm sorry for keeping you up so late.
because you know I'll go to bed at 7. So I'm just like, real. I got to do my hair. I got to put lashes on. Okay, but no. My number is 816-200-0696, or you can go to my website, www.letsgetpretty.org. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, what else? Instagram at Latrese Kabuya. But I have 3 pages on Facebook. So all 3 pages, Latrese Marshall Kabuya, Latrese Kabuya, and Let's Get Pretty.
Yeah, and I thought I had a lot of stuff to follow.
Right. And then Twitter, I'm Let's Get Pretty, and I'm Latrese Kabuya. And then Instagram, I'm just Latrese Kabuya. But I promise you, if you just put my name in, you'll find all my social media and just connect with me. Find out what's going on. Definitely want to see you guys at my events, and so it's been good. It's been good. Thanks, Rickster.
Oh, thank you, Latrese. This has been a ball. I'm Rick Sodebeer with Love for a Lifetime. I'm an author, a speaker, a blogger, and a dating coach. If you want to get a hold of me or follow me, I'm on Facebook at Love for a Lifetime, LLC. And I'm on Facebook as Rick Sodebeer. I'm on Twitter as at Rick Sodebeer. And I'm on LinkedIn, and I think that's about it. I'm not into a lot of the social media, but you can find me on my website. It's loveforalifetime.com. That's LUV, the number 4, a lifetime.com. And we have it will list my workshops and seminars and the meetup groups. For anybody that wants coaching, I now have video coaching available. So if you're not in the Kansas City area, we can do some online coaching and have a conversation just like we've done tonight with Latrese. So
Yay!
Anyway, folks, and you can shoot me an email, or if you have questions, you can shoot me an email at rick@loveforalifetime.com. And again, and did you give your email address, Latrese?
I did.
Okay. Give it again, please.
Maybe I did it, Latrese at letsgetpretty.org. I'm sorry. I don't think I did. Latrese at letsgetpretty.org. And just like Rick, I do coaching, and I do it online or in person. Either way, I'm good. I'm open because I'm going to talk, and we're going to get worked out. And I'm going to take this journey with you. I promise you that. Either way, I got you covered.
Very good. Latrese, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Thank you for the great comments tonight. It was our pleasure to be here. Thank you again. Would love your comments tonight and the questions. We'll be on. I will be back next Wednesday at 7 p.m. back at our regular time. And we're going to have another special guest next Wednesday. So check in with us to see who that will be. Latrese, I love you, and thanks for being here. And have a good evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.